You know what games I like a lot? Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire version. You could probably tell that from the fact that most of my videos lately have been about the 3rd generation in some capacity, and I'd be lying if I said that nostalgia wasn't a big reason behind me loving these games so much. Now when I was a kid, I started with Pokemon Red, but I was really young at the time. It wasn't until Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire came out that a lot more kids my age started playing Pokemon, and when I was in elementary school, it was pretty much all anybody talked about. We would battle, trade Pokemon, do those silly contests that nobody really ever understood how they worked, but we tried them anyway, and more importantly, try to complete the Pokedex. The issue that we had with completing the Pokedex at the time was that there were 3 Pokemon in the game that just kept eluding us. We didn't know what they were, how to get them, and since this was back in 2003, we couldn't just look it up on YouTube so easily because YouTube didn't exist. This was even before a lot of my friends had internet, so a lot of us only learned about these 3 Pokemon through other kids at school, if they had some sort of strategy guide, or if they used some sort of cheating device to allow them to catch any Pokemon, including the 3 missing Pokemon that we couldn't catch. Finally, someone at my school managed to figure out what the last 3 Pokemon we needed were and how to get them legitimately. These Pokemon were known as the Legendary Titans, Registeel, Regirock, and Regice, or Regice. I want to say Regice since it fits more aligned with the other 2, but phonetically it should be Regice. Whenever I say either in a video, people say I'm saying it wrong, so I'm just going to say Regice because it fits with the names. Anyway, the method used to catch these Pokemon is actually pretty ridiculous, more so than any other Pokemon in any Pokemon game. I first learned about this at elementary school during recess again, which is the exact place where a lot of the infamous Pokemon hoaxes that were formed in the late 90s and early 2000s started. It sounded just about as ridiculous as the rumors of how to get Togepi or Pikablu in Pokemon Red and Blue, which you obviously couldn't do at the time. But unlike those rumors, the Regis were actually real. Today I want to talk about the ridiculous things you have to do in order to catch these Pokemon in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, as well as talk about the history and lore behind those Pokemon to help understand why they are like this. Now, if you were just to simply look up the location of the Regis in Ruby and Sapphire like you would with just about any other Pokemon you're looking to catch for your Pokedex, it might seem pretty simple. Want to catch Regirock? Just go to the Desert Ruins. The problem is when you get there, Regirock won't be there, and the same can be said about the locations for the other 2 Regis. In order to make the Regis appear, there is a lot that needs to be done first. It gets so complicated at times that I really have no idea how anybody could have found this out on their own without any help, let alone how my friends and I were able to do this at about 8 years old. So to set this all up to make the Regis appear, first you have to beat your game. Next, you're going to need a Relicanth, a Wailord, a Pokemon with Dig, a Pokemon with Dive, and a Pokemon with Surf. You can have these moves on the same Pokemon if you need to, and I also recommend having a Pokemon with Fly in case you get lost and you'll also need it later on, and same thing with the move Strength since you'll need it to catch one of the Regis. Next, head to Route 134, which is a water route, and take this very specific path in the water current until you end up into this spot where you can use Dive. Use Dive and head down underwater until you see this Braille writing on the wall. Interact with it and then go back to the surface. This will lead you into the sealed chamber where there is even more Braille. Put Relicanth first in your party and Wailord last. Head back to the back wall and interact with the Braille writing over there as well, then use the move Dig. A hole will open up in the wall allowing you to walk right through it. Go through it and walk all the way to the back until you'll find another section with Braille and interact with that section as well. The screen will start shaking around you and text will appear saying that it sounded as if a door opened up somewhere far away. Use Dig to escape the area to go back underwater, and then get out of the underwater cave to resurface. Now head to one of the caves where the Regis should appear in, which are the Desert Tomb for Regirock, the Island Cave for Regice, and the Ancient Tomb for Registeel. For Regice, the Island Cave is located to the west of Dewford on Route 105. You must go there, interact with the Braille, and then stand still for about 2 minutes for an entrance to just randomly appear, leading to Regice. For Regirock, go to the Desert Tomb north of Mauville in the desert area over there, and interact with the Braille, then move to the right twice and down twice, and then use the move Strength to open up the cave. And lastly, for Registeel, go to the Ancient Tomb located in Route 120. Interact with the Braille, then use Fly in the middle of the cave to open up an entrance. I always thought this was rather strange how their overworld sprites don't exactly match the colors of the regular sprites, with Regirock being this mustardy yellow and Regice looking more like Registeel than Regice. Also, for some reason, the way they look kinda reminds me of Thanos' face, but that might just be me. Now if you're wondering what the Braille in each of these sections are saying, I'll leave a link in the description so you can check them all out for yourself, as well as other useful resources about the Regis, but the Braille is mostly just directions on what to do throughout making the Regis appear, including telling you which ways to move and where to go. The funny part about the Braille is back when I was in elementary school and kids in my school were trying to make the Regis appear, we were actually learning some basic Braille at the time. I'm not sure if this is a common thing to learn Braille in schools or not, but when we saw Braille in our Pokemon games too, we thought it was pretty cool. And after all of that, you still have to actually try and catch them. This is one of the most convoluted ways to find a Pokemon in any Pokemon game, and it was largely unchanged in the 3DS remakes, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I thought they would maybe make it a little bit simpler for modern times, but it was nice that they left it pretty much the same for nostalgic reasons. Now if you're curious as to the backstory and the lore behind the Regis, it's actually a rather interesting one that can be expanded upon as we get the new Regis for the next Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC. So the way the story goes is Regigigas was the Pokemon responsible for pulling the Pokemon continents into their place. He created the legendary Titans from the icy mountains, rocks, magma, and crystallized dragon energy. In ancient times, the Regis were worshipped for this. They became so powerful that Regigigas was sealed away in the Snow Point Temple in the Sinnoh region, while the other three Regis were locked away in the faraway Hoenn region. This also helps a little bit with Pokemon geography, as although we don't know the exact location of each region in the Pokemon world, we do at least know that Hoenn is far away from Sinnoh. Messages were written in Braille for whoever could find them and tame them after being locked away for so many years. The reason why Relicanth was needed in the first place was because it's an ancient Pokemon as well, and having it prove to the Reg that you were worthy, because going through the trouble of catching Relicanth can be tricky since it is a pretty rare Pokemon. As for Wailord, there's a few different theories out there as to why it's needed, such as it being based on the Coelacanth, which is an ancient whale. I don't know if that's true, but I can't find anything concrete or anything that makes as much sense as to why Relicanth is needed compared to Wailord. Maybe the Regis were just really fond of Wailord and they were friends with it in ancient times. Now one flaw I see with the Regis stories is that the Regis can be found in other games, more notably Platinum and Black and White 2, despite the story stating that they were locked away in the Hoenn region. We also have the case of Regieleki and Regidrago, I don't know if I'm saying those right either, who were not locked away in Hoenn as well with the other smaller Regis, and were perhaps locked away in the Galar region for whatever reason. I guess we'll find out more when the DLC comes out, as the Regi story will only be expanded upon in the next couple of months. And that is the weird story behind the Regis and how to catch them. Let me know in the comments down below if you ever caught these Pokemon before, if you never knew about how to catch these Pokemon before and how difficult it was, and if you did catch them, how much help you needed from someone else or from somewhere on the internet. Make sure you leave a like as well if you enjoyed the video, as it really does help the channel a ton and helps the channel grow, and helps YouTube promote my channel, which is great for channel growth, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Pokemon videos. Thank you all so much for watching, have a great rest of your day, I will see you all next time, and bye bye.